Yeah.
So what I meant to ask was, Jamie, have you beaten Crisis Core?
Oh, hell yeah.
Have you beaten Final Fantasy VII?
Then you're done with RPGs.
So, in other words, by your metric, Crisis Core is a better game than Final Fantasy VII because you can't review Final Fantasy VII since you haven't beaten it.
That's true.
You may as well. You just basically haven't played it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Crisis Core is infinity times better.
He ate my hair.
Man.
Do that.
Oh, man.
Griffin, one time in the future when we podcast, can we just give you maybe 20 minutes to just explain why Crisis Core is such a good game in your estimation?
You know, I've probably done it a billion times already.
But I won't interrupt you this time.
Jamie, did you really beat Crisis Core?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? The game sucks.
Wait, what?
What?
Haha, it's been years in the making.
Oh, man.
Oh my god, you maniac.
The longest catfish of all time.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to believe right now. Is this still the same Griffin?
No.
He had his
an
birthday. He
imposter.
didn't tell the world, and then he changed.
Yep. Secrets.
Are you using Just for Men now?
Oh, man, I thought about it. I'm getting some grays.
Dude, me too. On the sides, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys have hair to get gray hair with. That's nice.
You do too, man. On the sides.
I do have hair, but it's not turning.
Oh, I was
yet.
thinking more of my beard is getting like Labrador, my white muzzle.
That's just distinguished though.
Yeah, but then I
Yeah.
see people with it, and I'm like, dude, you need to do something. Like, you're looking like a fucking Van Gogh painting.
I love Van Gogh. He's a great artist.
Shame.
You know what my favorite painting was? The one that he went through 2/3 of and didn't finish.
You mean it's 40% of them? Hey, you know what? Van Gogh is the Nintendo of artists because he worked within limitations to produce great things.
When I go to the art museum, I just I go there and I look at the pictures and I cover up about the top third of it. Yeah, and then I judge it on that, and I'm like, yeah, this is fabulous.
That reminds me that Jessica once worked with a client with developmental issues who would cover parts of cartoon characters and then become sexually aroused by the parts that were not covered.
Oh,
That's not normal?
Yeah, the Sears catalog. I did that.
Well, in this case, it was more like Dora the Explorer.
Ooh. Well, you know.
On that happy note. Hey, we're back. How long has it been?
Note
guys?
to self: 4:02. Cut content.
Speaking of seeing everything to the end, I beat Assassin's Creed. I mean, we can probably talk about this later, but I beat Assassin's Creed in its entirety, at least all the main story arcs.
No. Let's keep going with this. I like this. Jamie, immediately start talking about the games you've played, and then we'll do the intro about 45 minutes in.
All right, I love it.
Okay.
We got to do it at the end, a la Lost.
Oh, I'll get the wacky tube noise. Okay.
Or like a title card in like a Kojima game or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's Kojima, you just do the title card and the ending multiple times throughout.
But yeah, I finally after like 70 hours, I beat the main 3 or 4. I don't even remember story quests in that game, and I love
In Odyssey.
that game. In Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, correct?
It's a fantastic game.
It's a good game.
Was shocked at how much I enjoyed the ending, and not like in a ironic way. I thought the ending was just like it was gut wrenching at times. It was really cool. There were great little denouement moments, and multiple endings too. Well, one of them was super cheeseball, but of the main story arc, I thought the ending was like perfect, and it was kind of a good culmination of how I had role played Cassandra.
Did you look at any tips for getting the best ending, or did you do anything and just got it? Or tell me about your path.
I did not get
your hero's journey.
I think I got the worst ending.
Oh,
I
interesting.
feel like the best ending must suck because of what you have to do to get it.
No, I think the best ending sucks after I watched it after I saw
the quote-unquote best ending is
got,
just like the happy ending. The happiest ending.
Everyone's on your
the
boat.
non-Greek tragedy ending.
Right.
Exactly. So I got the Greek tragedy ending, and I thought it was so poetic and so perfect that this must be authored, and there must not be other options. And then, of course, I go on YouTube, and there's like a million other options. But I just thought it was really, really great.
Geoff, did you finish this game as well?
I did not, no.
Okay, I was going to say, Jamie, just put it out there. It's a year-old game, but if you're still playing it, then I would say never mind.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. And one of the things that watching the multiple endings on YouTube demonstrated to me, put in stark relief, is that the voice actress who plays Cassandra is just phenomenal, just incredible.
Yeah.
Tell that one-eyed freak if he ever sends you here again, I'm gonna cut out his other eye and feed it to my bird.
Obviously, when I first found out what it was, and I found out that it was going to be set in ancient Greece, I was so overwhelmed and I was so happy. All the bedtime stories, suddenly you're like, oh, you're in that. You're part of that.
And I knew this because all throughout the game, if you play as Cassandra and you see your brother Alexios, who's your arch nemesis, every time you see him, he's just the caricature of an arch nemesis. There's nothing interesting about him.
Oh, yeah.
When I was watching the alternate endings on YouTube, whoever was played as Alexios. So Cassandra was the bad guy. And her acting as the bad guy is so engaging and so real.
I think I want to go watch that.
Yeah.
And it really sucks you in, and it almost makes you wish that you played as the boring guy so that you could interact with the interesting villain. But it was really cool to see that, and I just loved how that game somehow can be like zany, off the wall nuts, and at the same time really touching, really heartfelt. And I don't know, that game is like a million things, and it somehow manages to not feel like there were too many cooks in the kitchen, despite the fact that it is like typical Ubisoft amalgamation of every game ever. Like,
I think I disagree with you a little bit there, Jamie. I think that there was a lot of things happening in that game, especially if you're looking to do like a full clear and get the full ending. Just like I had to go to a guide and look up where some of these things were, because it's like I'm not going to just randomly encounter all this stuff by exploring the world and all the systems with like the ghost of whatever the hell it was, and like the assassinations, and then exploring the contents, and all those things were fun. I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game in the same way that they're, in my opinion, all mechanically sound and a good time having opportunity. It was just like, you know, you're like 3 hours in, it's like, and now the new mechanic, and then you're another 3 hours in, it's like, and how about another new mechanic?
Did you think one assassination mechanic was enough? Well, you were wrong.
And
I agree with you completely, Griff. Like, they were all fun, but like not. There still were a few too many of them.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there were none of them where I was like, I hate this. To Ubisoft's credit, but. So
I thought that by finishing the main game, and I did, so I killed all of the cult. I killed a lot of the mercenaries. I've killed the 4 mythical beasts. I did a lot of like the core stuff. I did all of it. I did use guides, and I was so addicted to all of it that I thought, like, I just have to mainline this game to finish it so that it loosens its grip on me and I don't want to play it anymore. And that's usually what happens if I mainline a game and I get the ending. I will find suddenly that the really addictive aspects kind of like lose their sway over me, and that is not the case. I'm like forcing myself to play other games, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I could go get that DLC. I could have a baby.
It's interesting because for me, like I played a lot of that game, and I probably will keep playing it, but I do kind of like.
Who wants to take a bet on that?
What?
Whether or not I'll play more?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's possible I'll just leave it behind, but I guess what I was getting to is that, like, it is like the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it is really fucking long. Yeah, it's really long. And I don't know, I like it. Like, every time I come back to it, I'm like, this is really fun. But then I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, the story, I feel like the story is solid, but it's not so, like, earth-shattering that I need to see it to completion.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I kind of pick up what you're putting down here. Like, it's good. It's a good action movie. Or, like, not action movie. It's a good
It felt like a
flick.
good return to form of Assassin's Creed, where it's like, things are spooky.
Yeah.
Well, it's got hooks in the same way that all of its systems have hooks, right? Like, there's the Michael Crichton stuff going on with all the sci-fi, right? There's, like, a pretty interesting conflict going on. Brother and sister, I think, is cool. But it's none of it is like, I don't need to know how this ends, right? Like, when Griffin was like, well, I don't want to spoil it for Geoff, it's like, I don't care. like it doesn't matter.
I don't want to go into the nuances of each of these.
No.
That's
I appreciate that. But the thought that I had in that moment was like, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, I love the game. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. It's maybe one of the best games I've played this year, but I still don't really care.
Fair enough.
It's definitely, it's not it's like, it's trash. It's like not great literature,
trash.
but like, I love trash. And
I love trash.
No, have you...
I don't even think it's that.
article,
I wouldn't even say it's
you
on a
can't,
trash level, Jamie. I think it's elevated slightly above that by its execution.
I'm using it in the critic's sense. So hold on one sec. There's a quote that if you can't appreciate great trash, you can't appreciate great art. And there was this wonderful think piece in the 70s by this film critic who was basically saying, listen, if you can't watch Shaft and get something out of it and find it interesting from a cultural perspective, then you lack the faculties to really appreciate like a Citizen Kane. And I firmly believe that. So when I say trash, I don't mean like there's no value to it. Like, quite the contrary. I think there's a huge amount of value to it, but it's not.
Oh, so exactly like Crisis Core. I see. I got full circle. Here we are.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is far better than Crisis Core. Crisis Core is an unmitigated disaster in my mind. But no, Assassin's Creed is really good. Like, I don't mean to belittle it. Like, it just, I don't really care. That's all. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Like, I have fun when I'm playing it. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I like, it's affecting me. It's pulling on different, emotional triggers and all that stuff. Like, I react, but by the same token, I could find out how that game ends tomorrow, and it wouldn't influence whether or not I want to play it. Because it's mostly just the loop.
And it's not even like, I mean, every ending you can imagine can happen. So it's not like there's one canonical thing that can happen.
Yeah. Including you, fighting Cerberus.
A lot of the mythical beasts I thought were really cool. Go on, Griff.
Yeah, I was going to say, all I want to say is I wish I had, if I could change my experience with that game, I wish I had not gone down the guide path. Like, I'm still fine with it because of, just in order to see the ending and quote-unquote, get to that final whatever. Like, a lot of the schlepping around you'd have to do. I wanted to kind of cut that down, and I turned the difficulty down at a certain point too, because I was like, all right, I could be here all day and just sneak around and counter and level up and yada yada yada, or I could drop the difficulty down so everybody's on my level instead of 5 levels above me. So I did that, and I was like, great, now we can finally get to this fucking game. Which, I mean, still fun mechanics, had a great time and all that, but I think that the through the guides, you see, do this to get this. It's like, God damn it. Because my first, story point, which ended up getting me the not good ending, not best ending, was the encounter with the father. And, I was heat of the moment, going by role-playing gut instinct, and just had such a good time with that moment. And to find out that it's no, you did the bad thing now. And I was like, nerds. I really like that. I love that, that thing. Because, the thing happens. You meet the dad. You say hello. Stuff happens. And then I end up kicking my brother off a cliff. and he survived.
They give you the mechanic to do that. So you would think, This is what
because
I'm
they
supposed to do
give
right
you
now.
the Sparta kick. You have to use it on someone.
No, it just happened. Like, it just organically.
It's a Chekhov's gun, except it's a Sparta kick.
When all you have is a Sparta kick, everything looks like a Persian.
Griffin, it's interesting that you are like really. I guess so. For you, it sounds like you kind of were into the story beats, and the mechanics were thin after a while. For me, I feel like I did like the story beats, but the mechanics really were actually like the pleasant surprise for me. This was my first like real experience with Assassin's Creed where I gave the series a serious chance, and I loved the mechanics. And I actually set it on hard difficulty, and I was like, this is one of the better like kind of stealth / action games I've played in a while.
I agree completely.
And I especially, you mentioned the levels, which is interesting because that was a point I was going to make. The level scaling in this game is like, I don't know how they do it.
It's
but
incredible.
It's so good. Like, it's not like Skyrim has some set levels, but like Oblivion, for example, right, like was kind of renowned for having terrible level scaling where like it didn't matter how strong you got, enemies just powered up with you. This is like the perfect balance between like enemies growing with you, so the game never feels too easy, but also like plateaus existing to create areas where like either you're horrendously underleveled or like you're super overleveled, so you do feel like you have a place in the world, like you're either like more powerful than this nation or less powerful than the other. I think they do a really good job with balancing that out, and if you watch the minutiae, it's like clearly very complicated.
Griff, when you
It's very
played,
impressive.
did they have mastery levels? Could you level past 50?
No, I played the game when it came out, so it was all that. There was some bullshit there, like, so the leveling was a known issue, and like you could the armor manipulation was kind of bullshit too. Like, you get a legendary thing at level 15, you're like, great, I need to sink all my money into making this now the next level equivalent for me, instead of this like, fucking Tunic of the Bear WoW equivalent thing that's 5 levels bigger, but better than my legendary thing. So, yeah, problematic in that regard, which is partly why I got frustrated with that. It's like, if I'm going to throw a dagger at somebody and assassinate them, I want them to die and not just take like a third of their health off. Which, Geoff, I totally appreciate the plateaus and stuff like that in the area gating, but it's like, all right, this is the area that I need to get to fight this next cultist, and he's 5 levels above me. I get it. There's a boss. I can't insta-kill him. But also, what if I could?
It's a double-edged sword. Like, I know it's a departure. Yeah,
it's a shame that you played it so early. They really fixed, or at least addressed, a lot of that. And
that's good to hear.
One of the fascinating things that they did. So firstly, about the armor. So now you can, if you want, you can pay money. It's not a whole lot. You can pay money to make any
human money
item. No, in-game currency. You can pay in-game currency, which you can buy.
bucks?
So I guess you could pay with real money, but you use in-game currency, and you can bring any gold item or purple item like up to your level appropriately.
I think that's what Griffin was referring to.
That's exactly what you can do.
Oh, okay.
Well, you don't have to do that though. You can just ignore that. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's true. With regards to the leveling and wanting one thing to be really good, one of the cool things they added is mastery levels. So once you go beyond 50, it opens up this like, essentially you're like stat hacking. So it opens up a new like page next to the tree. You can still put points into the tree if you want, but you can also just open this page, and it has the 3 options: hunting, stabbing, and just fighting. And it's like, what do you want to do? And you can just invest points into like super overpowering one of those things. So if you really wanted your like ultra stab to just kill even cultists, and you like dumped a bunch of stats into that, it would work. So that's kind of cool. It addresses that way. I just wanted to be like the best fighter possible, so I just poured it all into warrior damage, and it's almost like it's actually a really rewarding thing at the end of the game to finally feel overpowered, even though for so long the challenge was kept up so well. And then
I had that feeling too. I just turned the difficulty down.
See, I really enjoyed, like, I enjoy going to islands where I'm underleveled and like I would be killed by the mobs there, and I need to like dodge them basically and run away from them. And like, if I encounter like a bear in the wild, that could be the end of me. Like, that's really cool to me. And I've had some really interesting sort of non orchestrated experiences, right, where I go to these places, I have to deal with like whatever's going on there to get to like some objective that I'm not supposed to find yet, right? Like I think that's really cool.
I thought it was great too, and I definitely had that experience. It's just after the 40th time of getting to some, castle or the legendary animal that I had to fucking murder, it was just like, all right,
it's too long, it's too much.
By no means is it a bad game, or it's just like I've got my fill, and I'm ready to take the exit ramp, and that's what I did.
Yeah. I wish I felt that way.
I think for me the exit ramp is just at some point I'm not going to play anymore because like it's like it's fun until it's not, and I'm fine with that being what this game is. Like I think it's kind of a different way of thinking about games, and I think it's maybe a more realistic way of thinking about games. Like the Ubisoft games are not played to be finished; they're played to be enjoyed until they're not enjoyable anymore.
Sure, I mean
I would disagree with that, but that's fine.
I just feel like, generally speaking, that's a transition that I've been making myself, like as I have less time, but I still want to like, you don't want to miss out on something. So you buy something and you know that you're not going to have the time to really invest in it the way that you would want to, but you want to play it anyway. I just feel like that's kind of how I've been approaching things regardless. And
that's my dog.
Yeah, and last thing I want to say about this game is Geoff, you mentioned earlier that like sounds like I'm falling for the story, and by no means am I saying that this game has like some sublime, engaging story. It's hokey and ham-fisted, and sure. that was not my driving factor in it. I was very much taken by the mechanics and the bevy of systems, but the big story points where it's like, do this or do this, the options felt so like opposed to each other that you're like, if I do that one, the game's just over, right? and I did one of them, and it was like, oh no, this is like has severe consequences, and I really appreciated that, and that's when I got all like fucking weird about it.
Listen, I was in prison, and Socrates snuck up behind a guard in a cutscene and stabbed him.
Nice.
Oh man,
that's great art.
He should have given him hemlock.
That's the
ultimate
definition of great art.
Also, did you guys try out the new? Well, you probably didn't, Griff. Jamie, did you try out the stories?
I haven't,
I hate
but
them
it's really
so much.
It's
They're
really
so bad.
obtrusive.
Yes, it is.
The markers they put in the world. It's bizarre. I like
They're
the
like
idea.
Teleport pods or something. Like you like walk into like a little black hole.
Some French guy saw a commercial for Mario Maker 2 and he was like, "Damn!" And then he did a bunch of drugs and then he made that. And then they put it in the game.
It's really bad.
Huh.
But I think I will play around with that eventually. But yeah, the last thing I want to say about the game is just, oh my god, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I think that really sucked me in. You see an island off in the distance, and like everything in this game, I got sucked into like upgrading the ship, and I was really proud of my ship, and I made it look the way I wanted to look, and I liked just taking it out and sailing it. And you see something on the horizon, and you're like, "What the hell is that?" And even after you've 100%ed the main story, there's still islands you haven't even seen, and I don't know.
It's true.
There's a draw there, but I don't mean to go on and on about it.
That's a great game. I mean, there's so many things that are just very well executed, like far better than average, AAA game. I think that's the strength of Ubisoft. Like its games are always overfilled with systems, right? But like everything is at least great. It maybe isn't superlative, but it's at least great. So like you at any given moment you have a choice of like 10 different great things to do.
True.
Did either of you guys play the previous one, Assassin's Creed Origins?
I did not.
I figured. Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Most people who played Origins extensively were like, hey, this one is not as good, because I believe from all accounts the Origins stories and characters were more compelling. And I played a bit of Origins, not enough to really fall in love with any part of it. I bounced off it pretty quickly, but then I really fell in love with this one.
Yeah,
I just love Cassandra. She's so good.
I want that voice actress to have like the cachet of like a
Jennifer Hale,
Nolan North, yeah,
Troy Baker,
yeah,
whatever
Strong,
the female equivalent is.
Yeah,
Laura Bailey,
Ashley Birch.
Yeah.
Hopefully better than Ashley Birch.
You don't like Ashley Birch?
No, I think she's great, but I hope she gets more work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean like she gets more cachet?
Yeah.
Well,
this is a podcast
okay.
called Boss Barrel Radio.
Are. Yes.
Where three friends get together and talk about how much video games are cool and their lives suck and they're getting older and things are difficult, but video games are great.
My body's weird now.
Hair everywhere. It's just everywhere.
And it's turning gray.
Do you guys remember when podcasts were just radio?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
What?
Hell yeah.
I remember when people would buy cars with special weird radios in them so that they could listen to Howard Stern.
You remember when you couldn't
do that?
Say the fuck word on podcasts?
I remember
They wouldn't let you.
They wouldn't let you.
Steve Jobs would come to your house and stuff a sock in your mouth.
I just want to point out that people still buy cars with weird radios in them so they can listen to Howard Stern. that has not changed.
That's funny.
Yes, it is funny, and so are we. My name is Griff and Hoffmann. I go by Griff. Geoff Brewer is also here.
Hello.
Jamie, the Dr. Sherer.
5 milligrams of Haldol. Don't call me again.
Stat.
Put
Great.
it in there.
Check
How many
all the
times
boxes.
have you said stat in your career, Jamie?
I never say it, which
Unironically.
is such a shame. I never say it, but when I put the order in the computer, I do click stat all the time. So that's
you don't
that's
yell
very
it
rewarding.
as you click it.
Say
There's
it
no
again?
like audio. There's no audio cue that comes out when you click it, like stat.
Is the enter key relabeled as stat?
Every time you click stat, the nurse's pager has a special feature that makes it just yell stat at her.
Nurses don't carry pagers. Are you drunk?
I don't know, dog.
Nurses don't use stethoscopes. Those are for doctors.
Wait, do they not?
Nurses don't typically carry pagers, but of course they use stethoscopes. But that was a faux pas that a politician made a while back. I don't know if you guys remember.
Huh.
But no, nurses. I carry the pager. The pager is the bane of my existence, and I am paged constantly, and I hate
terrible.
it. I wish they would just frickin' text me.
Really?
HIPAA, right? God,
Do you like getting pages where the number's wrong?
love it. It happens all the time.
I know. They had them at my internship, and people would fuck up constantly. It was hilarious.
I can joke about this because nothing bad has ever happened in this regard, but I'll constantly get... So when I'm on call for the VA system, I cover multiple hospitals, sometimes multiple states. So I'm the only person on the phone if a veteran is feeling suicidal. And so they'll page me a number. They'll be like, here's this guy. He needs to talk to someone. Call him back. The number's like always fucking wrong. I'm like, I call them and someone will pick up and I'll be like, hey, hi, sir. How are you? I heard that you weren't feeling so good. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh.
There's no way this veteran is calling me from 69.
But I usually get the right number and everything works out. But it's it happens all the flipping time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Modern
Terrible
medical happenings.
Yes.
The second topic of conversation on this podcast.
Yes.
Soon it will converge with the one about us aging as well.
Third only to graphics cards.
Oh, don't do it, Griffin.
Oh, hell yeah.
There is graphics news we could talk about.
You guys
don't
want to
invite
tell me
this upon
about
yourself.
graphics things?
All right. Tell me what you know about CUDA cores.
Is that a fish?
Tell me what you know about streaming processing units.
Is that
Tell me what you know about
Bitcoin?
graphics core next.
Is that
What
Netflix?
do we know what RDNA
Netflix
stands
show?
for?
RDNA stands for Radeon DNA, literally. Oh, man. You know what? I think this is actually a topic that we can actually talk about, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, boy.
I have been listening to a lot of podcasts because I go crazy around E3. I listen to all the podcasts. I go nuts. When I'm exercising, I'm listening to the podcast. When I'm commuting, I'm listening to the podcast. And all these people, including people that I love and respect, like the Giant Bomb crew, everyone's wondering, like, you know, will the PS5 and the next Xbox be similar in terms of power and possibility? You know, how will we know? Blah, blah, blah. And I feel like the thing that, like, I know and that Digital Foundry knows is that, yes, they will be almost identical because they're using the same frickin' chips from the same manufacturer and the same technology. So everything that one is touting that they can do, like instant loading times, that's because the new chips from AMD can do that with PCIe 4. So I think that, like, that's actually an interesting topic. I think
you guys don't have instant loading times already on your current gen systems as promised 5 years ago? I think this will
genuinely be a big change there, though, because first of all, it's going to be the first time that we ever have solid state drives in a console, so that alone would be a huge uptick. But with this new technology, I won't go into it. It's PCI 4.0. It's basically going to make it. It's going to be truly astounding. It will be like a few milliseconds to a second or so, it could be. Just because of the bandwidth possibilities. But I think it's funny, you know, I think, so in this generation, right now, in the Xbox One X, there's an NVIDIA processor. And in the PlayStation 4 Pro, there's an AMD processor. So there is some disparities there. However, next generation, it's going to be the same dang thing.
Wait, the Xbox One X has an NVIDIA?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
The One S doesn't, right?
No. The One S and the original have a different thing, but when they made the Scorpio chip, I believe that was an NVIDIA. I'll just look it up right now. I could be wrong. Could definitely be wrong.
Jamie, while you're looking that up, I have a question for everybody here. It's just a thought AMD exercise to throw out there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Looking back on the previous generation to
I'm
our
super
current generation, am I on mute here? Am I on mute?
No, go ahead, Griff.
Okay, great. I love this podcast. What do you think the biggest difference is between generation previous and generation now? What strikes you as the biggest leap in technology that you're like?
You're talking PS3 to PS4,
or whatever other system you may have been using. Xbox 360 to Xbox One, probably not the
I would say
Nintendo stuff.
I mean, the big differences are RAM is better.
No. What do you remember? What is a striking feature that you're like, wow, this really makes it like the load times are so much faster.
So for me, actually, I would say, for me personally, and that you guys can make fun of me after I say this, but I actually think that the leap for me personally, the PS4 base to the PS4 Pro was bigger than like from PS3 to PS4, but that's because I'm lucky enough to have a 4K TV, and it really, once your eyes get used to that, and once you see a game that does really good upscaling, like once you see Horizon Zero Dawn in upscaled 4K from 2K, it's really kind of breathtaking. It really does, on a good TV, on a good 4K TV, it looks like a painting. And I'm really impressed by that tech because I have a computer hooked up to my TV that's orders of magnitude more powerful than my PS4, and it can't push native 4K. Like in Assassin's Creed, like if I try to push on all the settings max, if I try to push 4K, it'll look great, but I'm hitting 30, and that's fine. But I'm really impressed that with just kind of some like hacky technology and like some extra chips that are specialized, they were actually able to make something that really approximates 4K possible on this generation, and it really makes a huge visual difference for me.
Cool.
I don't know. What about you, Geoff?
I would say the two things that are like most noteworthy in terms of changes in my experience of gaming between last generation and this are games as a service and like the advent of easy streaming. Like, these are not things that I necessarily do, but if I had to think about what's different about last generation and this, those are the two things I would identify. Like a much larger shift to online play, and also, like I said, streaming. Like, I think those are the two things that have blown up this generation. Like, I can speak about like what's different about, like, relatively speaking. Like, I think relatively speaking, these consoles are not as graphically impressive for the moment in time that they came out. I think that their CPUs are not great. Like, I think things to be excited about for next gen are probably going to be like AI, like complicated pathing, and like lots of like individually like programmed like units moving around or doing things, or like really complex systems. I think we'll see a lot more of that type of game next generation, because Ryzen is such a leap over Jaguar, which was basically garbage.
Yeah, when PS4, Xbox One base came out, Jaguar was old. Like, so old that it was immediately concerning when it was found out that this was the technology that was going to be in those boxes. This is the technology that's in the PS5 and Xbox One, or next Xbox, is not out yet. I mean, it's just not out, especially with regards to the GPU. We will not have a AMD GPU capable of ray tracing on a hardware level for another year, at least. So it's going to be, I think it's going to actually be super cutting edge when this stuff comes out. And I also think ray tracing is actually pretty freaking amazing. And it is really cool. If the next boxes can do that, I think that'll be a huge upgrade in terms of realism.
And if I had to like make another realistic prediction, like, because I actually understand this stuff, and I don't think I did as much back when the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were around, I think that the things we should be paying attention to are the price of next gen, because AMD just announced their GPUs at a base price of $450 for their mid range, which is very high. And what was the other piece? Yeah, I think the price is the big thing to pay attention to, and I think it's going to be like a determining factor.
There's one.
Are you thinking it's going to be significantly higher because of that?
I do, unless they can cut some amazing deals. But it's just not looking the way it was. Like the PS4 rather, when it came out. Like, I think you could build an off the shelf system for a similar price to the PS4 when it came out, and you're not going to be able to build an off the shelf system that matches the rumored specs or the known specs of the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever the hell it's called, for $400, maybe even $500.
Think about it this way. So one of the things that they're going to need to throw in these boxes to make these claims of this instantaneous loading work is one of these new PCIe 4.0 SSDs. There's only one of them in existence right now, and it starts at $250. So even if they get a deal and they throw one in there for $150, that's $150 for just the SSD. These things are going to be like $500-$600, I think.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll get a great price on the CPU. I think the CPU will be cheap, because there is a product for every budget across AMD's CPU range right now, and I think they could get away with chucking in something that's pretty weak. But I do worry a lot about the cost of the GPU and the cost, as you said, Jamie, of the storage. I think it's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
So we will see.
I wonder if I wonder. Do you guys know, are people buying 4K TVs now? Like, am I still weird, or are people like getting 4K TVs now?
I think people are getting them.
Because I think I'm hoping that if you still are rocking like a 1080p TV and you get one of these new boxes, I'm hoping that like you actually can do some of the things that they're promising, like 120 hertz. I mean, you wouldn't see it on a normal TV, but I'm wondering if they're going to be in a tight spot in terms of like catering to such a wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question, right? Like, will they, if they're talking up 120 hertz and 8K, those two things cannot even remotely coexist in any scenario.
There's literally not the display technology. There is not a cable in existence that can do that. There's not a cable in existence that could take that from your PS5 and show it on a TV.
Can DisplayPort 2.0 do it? They just announced support for 16K. I bet they could.
I think that it... So, I was just watching a video about this, a Linus video. It's possible, but it certainly... It comes with all of these caveats. And and those caveats have to do with, is it really HDR at that point? Or is it using chroma subsampling? And are they willing to make that sacrifice? HDR is one of the things that sells these TVs. So if you hook up your new box and all of a sudden it's not giving you true HDR and you notice that, that's not going to look great to the average consumer. So I think it's going to be a really interesting shift. And I'm really, one of the things that makes me really happy is that both companies are, PlayStation and Microsoft, are comfortable coming out this early, because these things aren't coming out for a year and change, are coming out this early and saying, like, this is what it is. And I think that makes it, that makes me hopeful not only for the next systems in terms of what they can do, but it makes me hopeful that they're getting like actual dev kits like out there earlier, so that hopefully at launch we have, or in the launch window, we have some actual, cool...
You'll have games. You'll have Death Stranding. You'll have The Last of Us 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. You'll have plenty of games.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting because, there was a lot of hubbub around Microsoft targeting two models of their console. Like one kind of Xbox One X equivalent and one normal. And they got rid of the lower end model because they didn't want to confuse consumers. And I wonder, kind of just to put our conversation we just had, Griffin, into normal people language, like, are they going to have like two different profiles for every game? Like I've got a regular 1080p TV, but I want to like run games at full 60 frames per second. Or, like, I've got a 4K and I want to run them at 30. Like, is that going to be standard across every game going forward? Like, to have different performance profiles depending on what hardware you have?
I mean, Phil Spencer made it pretty clear that'll be a yes. Like, it may not be a switch you select, but there will be higher performance based on your hardware, or more accommodating based on lower hardware.
Okay, so like if you have a 1080p TV, like you could get better image quality or better frame rate versus if you had a 4K TV.
I mean, I think PlayStation Pro is already kind of doing that with having your selectors for pushing one sort of priority.
Yeah, it is, but I guess it's going to be interesting to see that really like hit the mainstream in a big way. Like I would say those products are still a little bit niche.
I don't think it'll be successful if it is, shift your gear into whatever function you want it to be. I think it'll be successful if it is if it's non-transparent to the user and it's just functioning at a rate that is pleasant and less obtrusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would expect that's Microsoft, Sony's aim is to, make it accommodating, but then also give that functionality to push when you have the availability to push.
Yeah, it just shows how PC like these devices are becoming, because everything like it's like different profiles. Like that did not used to be a thing for gaming at all. Like it was like you put your card in and then you get what you get.
I think one of the things that Digital Foundry and other people as well were talking about is that the reason why they axed that lower SKU is because it's just going to be the xCloud, and you're probably going to get xCloud with your Game Pass Ultimate subscription. Yeah. And so if you don't have $600 to blow on a new box, but you already have Xbox Live, then you're kind of already in, and then you're not going to be the person to buy the $600 box.
So basically, like, gotcha, suckers! Fucking suck it! You're going to play through the cloud, motherfuckers, on your PlayStation or your Xbox One!
I kind of feel like
we gotcha!
That's why they're
always
doing
online,
cloud.
bitches!
Like, that's why they're all pushing into cloud. Like, I think, like, it makes sense from a business perspective, but I think also, like, the hardware is just going to be very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't want to belabor this too much because I know it's kind of boring, but...
I love it so much, but I totally get it too.
Oh yeah, so my point in asking that question was to showcase the fact that there was no real graphical like superiority between the previous console and the current, and I'm just kind of foreshadowing that you probably won't see it again, and you'll probably be disappointed with like, oh, they went with this SKU, oh man, my nerd tears, and then you guys will be all bummed out about your Jaguars and your other cats and whatever, and it'll be like, oh no, well next generation will get it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was just going to say, you're probably right. It is possible that these things can actually ray trace. If that's the case, I think it'll be a difference that's noticeable to anyone. Like when I turn ray tracing on and off in a game, Shannon is like, wow, it went from looking like a video game to a photograph. So I think that if that's there, you might notice the difference. That's not an easy thing to do.
Do I need a special TV to appreciate ray tracing?
No, you do not.
Okay,
you could see the difference of ray tracing on a CRT from 1996. It's that kind of stark. It's really cool.
Huh.
It is pretty cool. I think ray tracing is neat. I'd be excited to see it. What I will say is the only thing I really care about in terms of the hardware is that they've already pretty much come on record about what they're going to be putting in these units, like in kind of a rough way. And it's all really expensive stuff. So that's where I'm coming from. Like, I think cost is going to be the big thing that consumers care about.
Did that not exactly happen with the previous generation where everybody...
No, it didn't happen with the previous generation. No.
Okay.
It was known well in advance that the stuff they were looking at was not insanely expensive.
Okay. I thought the expectations were higher and then they were undercut when they actually released what chips and shit were in there.
Maybe to some degree, but I think it was pretty well known that Jaguar was going to be the platform they were using. And again, I don't think the CPU is going to be the problem. It's just that AMD just had an event where they're like, here are our new graphics cards. They cost $450, which is basically matching the fact that NVIDIA has been price gouging. So, like, graphics cards have gotten a lot more expensive in the past 2 years. Like, probably... I would say almost doubled in cost.
Yep.
for comparable gains. So that's the problem, is really the issue. So I think that's going to be something that consumers will care about, is like sticker shock from seeing like, oh my God, this costs $550.
There's two jobs. You just get two jobs. We've already done it.
Exactly.
Is that going to be the thing that pushes someone to Stadia? Like
no. No.
But why not? If you're not super into this garbage and you're willing to blow your money on it like we are, and you see that, you know, maybe one box is 600, maybe the other box is 700, and both of those seem just outrageous to you, but right next to those in the Best Buy there's a Stadia controller for $70.
I'll make you the same argument I made to a friend the other week about Stadia. He is a pretty intense PC gamer person, and had no clue what Stadia was when I talked to him about it. And here's the thing. Stadia, all right? So it is a system that's going to allow you to stream games to your hardware, right? And that the assumption is your hardware is, you know, not prolific enough to run it at the best top-notch performance. However, you got fantastic internet. Now, you're also video game savvy enough that you want to have the latest and greatest shit. So you're having it come through a service that's going to give you, you know, the equivalent of like your Steam or your console game, where you're getting it straight off the block at the highest level. And then, you know, it's a streaming service, so you have to be internet savvy enough to understand streaming media and internet caps and download rates and all that stuff. So you have a lot of knowledge that's required to be interested in this product, to then engage with something that is kind of illogical, where you're saying, I am a power user without power capacity, and I want to play the best, so therefore I'm going to use this system. And it's just like it's kind of anachronistic, where you're like, well then put more of your liquid funds in one of those directions, right? Like,
but I think the scenario that's envisioned, right, is like, you know, Joe whoever like watches a YouTube video and then it's like, hey, play the game, and it's like, all right, sure, you just sign up for this service and I can play the game. My problem is,
and then I play real shitty Counter-Strike, right?
My problem is data caps. Like, I have been using my phone throttled all month, and it is the worst.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There is so much innate fucking obscured knowledge that would have to go into this if there was somebody who's like, I am a typical game player who's going to go to Best Buy and buy a video game and play it after I watched it on YouTube, to then extrapolate that to Stadia. It doesn't make logical sense.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, there's maybe a path to walk, but I worry about the data use. I think that's the big problem.
I think the big problem is that this is the first thing of its kind, and people will not understand. People may understand eventually.
No, I disagree. There's so many. This is a well-worn trail.
On live.
Gaikai.
On live.
Well, I mean, how do you think that the average, Best Buy / GameStop
PlayStation
shopper?
Play?
That's true. But that you have a box for that. I guess that's what I'm saying.
You're still going to need a box for it.
For Stadia? No, you don't need
no.
a box.
You need a dongle and a controller.
Exactly. I need some fucking barrier of entry thing. Where do I plug it into?
You don't need to buy the controller. You can use any controller.
But I'm still saying, like, you still have to get a thing in order to play it. I can't just have it on my phone and push it to my TV. I still need to buy some kind of dongle.
I guess even for my brain, even my brain is like, you're spending money on this and you don't get a box. Like maybe that's just a reflection of who I am in terms of my preferences. But to me, that seems like a pretty wide gulf to bridge. When the alternative is getting a physical box, that's the trick that I think. I really do think that if you go up to the average, game consumer, they're going to expect that with the next generation, you get a box of some sort, of some kind, even if it's an Xbox One all digital, and it's essentially like something to download your games on. I don't know. Maybe
I agree with you 100%. I think that there is there will be that barrier to cross where it's like, what do you mean? I don't get a thing. Mm-hmm. It's a Fire Stick, like it's a little, I just plug it in my TV. Really?
I just think every non-core thing that Google has done, they have fucked up one
or
another.
That's
they'll probably fuck this one up too.
And all it takes is one time. Like your internet hitches one time, and you lose that save after you beat that crazy hard Dark Souls boss, and then you're out. Then you're like, I cannot do that again. Yeah, at least I would feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, again, maybe the story will be different, but it seems like this stuff is, maybe low-spec gamers
Google
or low-end gamers are ready for it.
Google is pulling fiber out of everywhere at this point.
What's that, Griff?
Kansas City, like the test bed for Google Fiber, it's just being pulled out. Like it's like, hey, did you move here because there's sweet ass internet? Bye.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's not a good environment. Like the U.S. is not a great place to do this shit. There are so many limitations on internet, and it's so expensive.
I just think this whole system, Stadia, and what it's trying to, the audience is trying to find is a fool's errand. Like you're trying to hit all these margins and bring it into one like user base, and it just doesn't exist.
I guess that brings up.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Jamie.
No, you say, because I was going to kind of shift gears just a little bit. See,
yeah, I'll say the last piece, and then we can switch. So I think there's already a product for Joe whoever who wants to play games on their smartphone, and it's called a mobile game. Yeah, exactly. I don't say that with disrespect. Fortnite. Like mobile games. First of all, they've gotten real good, but second of all, like they work natively on your hardware. They're no fuss. They don't gobble down your entire internet connection. They have so many advantages over trying to stream full fat console experiences to your mobile device.
Mm-hmm.
Like definitely. They don't need an external controller. So anyway,
I was just gonna say, one of the things that this conversation reminds me of is, I was having some thoughts in 2012, 2013 that, and people were talking. Maybe the PS4, Xbox One.
Oh, I'm getting a page. Oh, hello. Hi, Jamie. You're getting some thoughts. Are you okay?
Hi. This is Jamie in 2012. This is 2012. Do
you want a DiGiorno?
I got a DiGiorno.
Okay.
Let's see. Barack Obama. Everything's good.
Like that ad campaign, right? Am I right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Hey,
especially when they put it on Optimus Prime, right?
Let me ask you this. 2019 Griffin. So. Back here in 2012, the PS4 and the Xbox One are on the horizon, and people are thinking that this is going to be the last console generation. People are wondering.
Oh my gosh, I'm not ready for a new console.
People are wondering if there's even an audience for these things. And,
I'm just not ready for a new console. I'm good with my PlayStation 3. Look at it. Did you see God of War 3? It was phenomenal. It's so good. Look at Uncharted 3. Gorgeous. Nathan Drake, he touched the wall.
He sure did. Everywhere he went, he touched the wall.
And I think, my thoughts there is, there is an audience. I think these next consoles are going to do pretty well.
Yeah,
I think.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fine, and I don't think that I don't think that the PS5, Xbox, whatever, I don't think that's going to be the last console generation either. I think the talk of...
I agree. Phil Spencer has said
promised. He promised,
yeah. Yeah. So I think that's good. That's heartening to me.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about games.
Do it.
Nah.
Hey, Cadence of Hyrule is real good.
What?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Cadence of Hyrule?
Yeah. So, I don't feel like we need to talk about this for too long, but I guess we can. So, rhythm games, who doesn't like a good rhythm game?
Love it. DDR,
Nazis.
give me some.
Yep. Roguelikes, so hot right now.
Great.
Crossovers.
Roguelite or roguelike? Which one?
Roguelite.
Ooh. Oh.
Roguelike? I guess it's a roguelike. Roguelite? It's a roguelite. It's a
Okay.
roguelite.
All right. Well.
Is it a mud?
Nope.
Are we talking about muds? No? Okay.
I'm impressed you know what that is.
How many D's in that mud?
Go south.
All right. Anyway, so crossovers. Who doesn't love a good crossover?
Who
Nobody.
doesn't love procedural
I like the Avengers.
generation?
Yeah, so that's what that is. So Cadence of Hyrule, it's Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a rhythm-based dungeon-crawling permadeath roguelite game mixed with Zelda, and it's beautiful, and I love it. It's real good.
I sucked at it at first, and then I got okay because I got more hearts. And now
The music
it's
is
fun.
really, really good. It's solid Zelda remixes. The items are super cool. The
Even
bosses are
for-
funny.
Someone like me who doesn't have...
The bosses are funny. I want to go back to that.
I
They're
have
funny names. They're cute.
Yeah, go Maracas. I like some Zelda games. I have not played any 16-bit Zelda games. I have not finished any 64-bit Zelda games.
So you haven't played them?
I have played...
Did you play Breath of the Wild all the way through?
I played Breath of the Wild all the way through. So there are games in the Zelda series that I love. I think Breath of the Wild is one of, if not my favorite game of all time. But I'm just trying to say I don't have that kind of deep passion. Like, when I hear a Zelda song, I don't feel as nostalgic and teary-eyed as when I hear a Final Fantasy VII song. But this game is somehow like taking nostalgia that I don't have, and it's shoving it down my throat, and I'm into it. I feel nostalgic by proxy.
It's just really good. Like, I feel like I played Crypt of the Necrodancer, and I was like, this is good, but...
Jimmy, let me also tell you this. All the Zelda songs are the same.
Oh, they are? It's
it's pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
God damn it,
It's
Griffin.
kind of true.
I love as good as any track from Crisis Core.
I love that track from Crisis Core, Metal Sound. That's my favorite one.
The missile slicing track is my favorite. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think that especially in the 64 games, there was a lot of similarity in the music because they all stemmed from the ocarina notes. But anyway, that aside, so it's just really good. It's like a really wonderful marriage. I think that all the Zelda stuff elevates the Crypt of the Necrodancer stuff quite a bit. Like, the enemy types really gel with the world really well.
Yeah.
I think that, as I said, the items kind of add some much needed flavor to the world. The game is just, like, I think a better game. The art is better. The difficulty curve isn't as severe. Mm-hmm. It's just a great game. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I just really liked it.
I found it was a steep upslope for me, but I am A, not that smart, and B, didn't have any experience with Necrodancer. But once I got in the swing of things, I think I fell into the groove.
It's a hard game. It's just not nearly as hard as Necrodancer, which was so hard that I just was like, I don't want to play this. Whereas Cadence of Hyrule is tough, and you will die a bunch, but you do grow. Like, you do get to buy stuff in between deaths, for one. Mm-hmm. And it's just not as punishing once you start to, like, get items and things.
So no joke, but you have to listen to the music in this game to play it, right?
Well, you can turn that mode off completely.
Okay.
Also, you can just look at the little thing at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a visual indicator as well.
You should listen to the music, though.
Well, yeah.
Like, that really would turn on... Like, it would really lower the enjoyment of the game if you did.
The music is incredible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't recognize half of the songs. I just think they're really great songs, you know? But I think...
I hear there's a good Gerudo Valley.
I don't think it was the most memorable of the tracks, but it was decent.
All right.
It was good. Yeah, but I really did enjoy the bosses quite a bit. They all are instrument themed, as Jamie alluded to, like Omuraka's Wizrobo. I can't remember the other two, but they're just real cool. There's just a lot of cool stuff in that game. I really like it. And it's like speedrunner friendly. Like, you can beat it in 20 minutes, which is insane. But it's like a 4 to 6 hour game, I would say, if you're, playing a reasonably completionist playthrough. And it's just really solid. It's I'm excited that Nintendo is using their IPs judiciously with indie creators. Like, that is a really cool thing. Yeah. It just makes me happy. So that's all I want to say about that.
That is a great game. I will go next. I played, because I have something that I want to talk about real quick. I played a game that's an Epic exclusive called Close to the Sun.
Oh my God.
I don't think we talked about this.
I don't even know what it is.
Because last time was like months ago. Close to the Sun is a spiritual successor to BioShock 1 without combat. It's a walking...
It sounds like a bathroom break for me.
No. I'm not going to talk about it for long.
He doesn't take very long in the bathroom. Go on.
He's in and out. I really...
BioShock, it's time for a bio break.
Amazing. Can we rename this podcast BioBreak?
BioBreak is my favorite Chrono Cross sequel.
It's creepy. It's the first of those types of games that like streamers play that have a lot of like pop out scares that I've played. But I actually really enjoyed it for the most part. There is no combat, but they force you into these like really stupid situations where you're like running from an enemy, but it's not really done that well. But
are there fail states?
There are fail states, which are very
sounds
frustrating.
like shit. Then,
and that part of it,
amnesia kind of.
Yes, it's actually kind of similar to that. But
I can't play that game.
The atmosphere, the atmosphere is really phenomenal and
really wet.
If you just liked walking around the world of BioShock 1 and you feel like you want a little bit more of that, it's not that expensive, and I would recommend it if like you had that very particular itch. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
When you're saying it is like BioShock, is it like specifically like Halcyon Days Gone By, and now it's just kind of like overrun, shitty, post-apocalyptia nonsense?
Yes. Not only am I saying that, I'm like literally saying the art in this game as if they broke into Ken Levine's basement and they stole some of the concept art for BioShock 1, and then they just like did it again.
So a lot of mannequins and masks and water.
Exactly. Like literally those three things.
I played Rage 2, so I've got enough mannequins in my life this year.
Were you ready to die?
Oh God, if only that level.
Do you want to talk about Rage 2, Griffin? Or
that's about enough. I think I said it right there.
I'm excited to see that you played Baba Is You. What did you think of it, Griff?
It was good. I had a fun time playing it.
Yeah,
I am still.
Cool.
There are still puzzles where I'm like, this is not solvable.
Oh yeah, every time.
Oh no
They all
doubt.
are.
Yep. Yeah. It's very tempting to go look. I haven't looked yet.
Nice.
But yeah, I've just been moving through like a couple levels here and there. It's fun.
I feel like there are a couple of levels in that game where it should just be like posted, like it's okay to look this one up because it's kind of bullshit. There's like 2 out of 220 levels.
I think maybe like a very subtle hint system to be like, yo, you gotta move shit a lot to do this one, or like, no, just rethink it. It'll be, you can, like, how many turns like a turn count would be nice. Like, you can, how many moves does it take? 30? 900? Like, that would be perfect for me.
What's cool is that you can actually find guides on like Steam and stuff where people just basically do hints. Like they're like you could do the hint guide or the full guide. And so you can actually get that experience. But I do wish it was baked into the software because some of those puzzles are so hard.
Yeah, I'm playing on Switch. It's good.
Yeah, it's a great game. I love it so much. I'm glad you're playing it.
I love the music.
I
love that music so much.
Perfect puzzling music.
I should go listen to that. I'm writing it down.
Bloodstained, though. We all played Bloodstained. Should we talk about that?
I played up until the first boss that I lost to frequently.
I have not made it to the first boss. I'm assuming it's at the end of the boat.
Yeah, I made it to the first boss playing on hard difficulty and have lived to regret that because I can't beat it.
I can't beat it on normal, dude.
It's real hard.
It's really hard. It's fun. I keep trying.
Do you guys do some grinding? Get some new souls. I like that animation of getting stuffed and stabbed in the chest with the soul.
I wish it ran well as opposed to poorly.
Yeah, the Switch version does suck.
I'm just so sad because I kickstarted that game and I don't want to pay 40 some odd bucks to buy another version of it. So I guess I'll just wait.
No, dude, just get it on PC. It looks really good. It plays really good. Just get it on PC. Don't suffer through it. It's gonna be a great game. Just do it. Think of it this way: that money that he paid, it was just it was he needed more wine.
To throw on the ground.
He did that like 3 or 4 separate times. It was funny the first time. I will say there's definitely still quite a bit of jank. Like I noticed one time I died, but my character was still controllable while the screen faded to blood.
That's incredible.
The character never registered that she was dying. It just, I ran out of health and it was like, oh, time to load the game over screen. But it looks like it'll be fun. It looks like it'll be a serviceable Aria of Sorrow ripoff, which is what I want.
Yeah.
So, or Order of Ecclesia.
So you've entered phase 4 of the podcast, in which we talk about games that we will continue to play.
Whoa.
If we're not currently playing. So
Wait a minute. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I want to play more Bloodstained. I'll be playing that as well as Judgment.
Oh hell yeah! I
want to
play Judgment.
I haven't played it.
I want to play
service
Judgment.
that shall not be named has delivered it to me, but I was out of town.
Ooh.
So I just got
I want to play Outer Wilds. I got to play too. There's so
Yeah,
much,
I
man.
haven't played it yet.
So much going on.
I kind of want to wait for a PC version of Judgment, but I don't want to at the same time. I just don't like playing my PS4 anymore.
Huh.
I went to turn it on the other day, and one of my controllers, like, I think it's shorted or something, half the buttons don't work.
Wait, is it the good half or the bad half? Which buttons? There's a lot you don't need on there.
Well, the D-pad is part of it, so it's a deal breaker for me.
You can get around that.
Anyway, quickly, another game that actually I broke the rules because I finished this game, and you can finish it in like 4 or 5 hours. Katana Zero. It's Hotline Miami except side-scrolling, and the plot is really cool. And it's.
I also beat that game, and it's great.
Yeah, it's a great game. I don't
think I got the super super hard ending, but I got an ending, and I loved it.
What super hard ending?
I made a choice, and then something happened, and then I looked online, and it was like you can actually go a little further than that. Like I got credits, but someone online.
Give me a vague reference to the choice.
I I don't remember what the conceit is, but it's essentially like, do you want to die right now, like forever in the story?
Oh, and, yeah. There's definitely a little more after that. Yeah,
and I was like, sure. Like,
you got to make like the objectively terrible choice.
Yeah. And then I got credits, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. But yeah.
The weirdest thing about that game is that it's not done, and it will be finished in like maybe another 5 to 6 months. It's like a full game, but apparently the developer is committed to adding more story. And once you beat the game, there's like an area you can access where it's like, check back in a few months. And I'm like, all right. It's really good, though. It's very like frenetic, fast-paced action. Cool story.
Holy smokes, guys. None of us are even talking about Mario Maker 2.
For good reason.
What? Are you not pumped?
Nope. Didn't like Mario Maker 1. Don't give a shit about Mario Maker 2.
So I'm playing it right now. Are you playing it, Jamie?
I haven't even bought it. There's just so much to game. There's so many games. What do you think, Geoff?
I played a big chunk of it today, and I was excited about this game, but I'm kind of having the same sensation I had with Mario Maker, which is like, I think I like my Mario games like more
curated.
Authored.
Yes.
Like
everybody's Mario sucks.
It's weird because I'm playing the story mode, and it's like Nintendo made levels, but I'm like, I need the dumb conceit of like a world map. I need like progression. It's weird to play Mario levels in a vacuum.
I hear that 100%. I 100% agree with you, Geoff. It's gross. It's it's heresy. It's disgusting. It is not as God intended Mario to be.
Did you all have Mario Paint on the SNES and spend like hours and hours and hours with it like I did?
It's so good.
Because this is, to me, the new Mario Paint. Like, you don't get it because you get it because you want to futz around with that stuff. That's what I want to do, at least.
No, I'm going to play the creator levels.
I'll just play, I'll go play Mario World more, and it'll be good.
I'm still excited for the game. It's been a little bit of a slog. Like, I've enjoyed it, but I've also been by equal measures, like, frustrated by playing through the pre-generated content. I am excited to dig in further, though.
Have you made a level?
No, I don't even want to make a level. I hate making things.
See, that's... Of course.
I just want to play other people's levels, which I will do in due course, but I haven't done it yet.
I'm kind of pumped.
I bought it.
I liked futzing around with that. I'm frustrated that people are saying, like, you need a stylus. And it's like, well, what stylus are you...
Oh, I can give you a recommendation after the podcast, Jamie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I have weird feelings about it, but I still am giving it its due. There's definitely a lot more shit going on. I can tell the levels are going to be insane. Like, clear conditions for levels is revolutionary. So, like, you can have levels where, like, you fail if you ever jump. And
that sounds fucking shitty.
It's really frustrating, but some of the design that they pulled off with this condition were fascinating. They have other things where it's, like, simple things like guide, 5 NPCs to the goal, but I can tell that in creators' hands, that's going to be really cool. Or, like, bring this object to the goal, that's going to be really interesting in terms of level design. So I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys something, because I've been reading about this since we talked about it like an hour ago. So, these new SSDs are so fast that they could load as much as the PS4 could possibly load based on how much RAM it has. They could just load as much as the PS4 could possibly load in less than 2 seconds.
You're talking about, like, saturate the RAM, basically?
Just completely saturating the RAM in less than 2 seconds.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's important, Griffin.
Yeah. It's going to be cool. I'm excited. Griffin will be excited, too.
Sure.
When he sees
it doesn't matter that much in terms of consumers, but it is cool.
It's not going to matter. Mark my words. Nobody's going to fucking care about this stuff in 3 years when this comes out.
No one's going to care about that stat that I just said.
Dom looks so much better. The remake of Gears of War 2 looks so much better.
No one's going to care about that stat, but people are going to care when you... Not only is it like not like a load once and not load again, it's like you just never load.
That's not going to happen.
It could certainly happen.
I mean, it already
real
kind of
bets right
happens
now.
on PC.
I guarantee you that there will be loading next generation.
There will be
Noticeable loading.
They're
Yeah,
loading,
for
but like
sure.
on PC, like loading is much faster, like very noticeably.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a big quality of life thing.
It
for
is
me.
a thing.
Like if you're playing a game where you die a lot, and it's not like a 2D with platformer with an art style, and having the ability to just kind of jump back in to that Dark Souls level in like a second or two, as compared, which I can do currently with my old SSD tech. It's a big change. I'm excited.
Nobody's going to be playing Dark Souls for the next console. It's all dead. It's like, God, do you remember that? It was like racing games. Jesus.
Elden Ring, then they done changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a big deal. Like Bloodborne is a perfect example. Like people were so frustrated by the load times in that game. They were like 40 seconds when you died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
that
miserable.
that will not be a thing. Not with solid state.
We'll see. Because that was promised not to be a thing for this one.
We can bet on this.
I'll be happy to bet on this and forget about it in 2 years when these consoles come out.
I'll get it tattooed on my stomach.
But much like when you guys said that the Ouya was going to end console hardware forever, I will remember this.
Did we say that?
Yeah,
Wait,
of course you fucking did.
We did?
Yeah, you guys were like bemoaning the end of consoles because Ouya was going to end it all. Like you guys were just always worried that everything is coming crashing to an end.
I'm not worried about that.
That's just true, generally speaking, of me, like in all things.
I'm not worried about that this time.
So on the other extreme, I don't think this next console is going to be the godsend of all console issues. So
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like there
As
will
I
still
said-
be loading problems.
Go ahead.
That's it. There will still be loading problems.
Griffin, the only things that I definitively am going to be on record with for this new console, I do think loading will be a lot faster, like much faster, sub 10 seconds. I
What
would say,
about
for
if
almost every
games
game.
get bigger
They're limited
It
by optical
and
media.
beefier?
It does not matter. Like it doesn't matter. They're not going to put more than 16 gigs of RAM in this thing, and that it would saturate that in 4 seconds or less.
What if
So,
they
like,
put more music in it?
Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
That's the less important point to me than the fact
more
that
JPEGs.
they're going to be more expensive, and that'll be annoying. I'm not saying that they won't sell well; they're just going to be very expensive. I am almost certain of that.
And there will be more JPEGs. All sorts of JPEGs.
What about GIFs?
There's going to be GIFs, Steve Harvey GIFs.
You can make your profile a GIF now. Facebook started it, and now PlayStation will follow.
That's horrible.
All right.
Sorry I brought us back to that, guys. I'm excited.
Nice.
I understand Griff's feelings. I really want to make it clear. I don't care, except that I do think it will cost more money. Because that's just that has to happen.
What did you guys think of, just in one word, what did you think of E3? And it can't be meh. What did you think of E3?
One of the best E3s I've seen in years. That was one word. All dashes between those words.
Is that a genuine sentiment?
Absolutely. And like I was telling you guys through chat after it happened, like part of circumstance, and also I had a great time. Like it was so much fun watching everything. So many games, so cool, so much positivity. Like I really loved it.
I thought it was good too. Everyone was down on it, and I'm like, Doom looks like it's incredible. Final Fantasy VII is real, and it's coming out. And it's nuts.
Yeah.
And we heard something about the new consoles. That's very exciting for me.
Absolutely.
And I don't know.
I think being outside of the shithead echo chamber of snark and nonsense really made me genuinely have a good time watching all this stuff where I'm not like, I'm reading tweets and gonna have a hot take on it. Like I loved it.
When Keanu came out on stage, I was so
oh my
legitimately excited.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
I was
when
like,
that car came out and I was like, P-brake, and it was like Lego car. I'm like, fuck! What?
That was so cool.
Yes, it was beautiful.
I will say that there were parts of it that I thought were really fun. There were other parts of it where I was just like, this is the worst. The thing that I think just bothered me the most was that there was just so little substance behind all the pre-rendered videos that were shown off. Like there was a couple high notes. Like, obviously seeing FF7 was super cool. Nintendo was solid. I just was bummed out that so much stuff was like, here's a CG trailer. I was like, why am I even watching this? To me, it felt more like I was watching an ad than ever before. And, like, I know that's what it always is, but it felt that way to a really big degree.
If you had asked me before, what is the one thing that I want to see the most, I would say, and that you think is you think is least likely, I would say that they announce a Majora's Mask style sequel to Breath of the Wild. Like, even just to say that they're working on it.
That was the best part of the Nintendo conference, in my
I
opinion.
did not think, because it's if you think about it, it's insane. There's a Zelda game out now, Cadence of Hyrule. There's a Zelda game coming out like this year, and so you would think they would be insane.
Previous to the past Zelda launch, what was the next big hitter within Nintendo's library?
Mario? What?
What is there any? Like, Odyssey, is that the one, right?
Like, what's the next bestseller, you mean?
Like, I'm saying, I'm kind of
maybe Let's Go.
Piggybacking off Jamie, where I'm saying, like, okay, what was the next? Like, it's already, you've had Breath of the Wild, and then you have your other Zelda titles that slot in there, and then you round back to Zelda once you get through all those. And it's like, well, you had Mario, but that was a known quantity at the time, so, like, to go back to Zelda already is just... It dropped my jaw.
Yeah, it's insane.
You've got Metroid, you've got Animal Crossing, you have all the other shit that you got to get through before you even talk about the next Zelda game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Zelda was exciting. Like, that's cool. I don't know. I'm happy about it. I mean, it's nice that they showed a little bit of actual footage of the game. That's cool. But
Someone else, go on.
Go ahead. Like, I don't know anything else about it. Like, it exists. Yay.
Someone else said it so well. I don't remember who this was, but they said, like, this is an era where games companies, like, love to say, we hear you, and then they give you the exact opposite of what the community wants so desperately. And this is one example where it's not like Bethesda, saying we hear you and then shoving a battle royale into an already shitty Fallout game. This is Nintendo saying, we heard you. We know that we had something special here.
Yeah.
And here you go. Like, that, to me, that is astounding. That's really cool.
Reggie's
to be
last
clear,
gift.
I'm extremely excited about it. Like, I love that the language they're using to describe how they came up with this sequel is very similar to the way they talked about Mario Galaxy 2, another game I really loved. I'm super excited about that. I still think, on the whole, this was a bad E3. Like, Square rocked it. They did a great job. I had a lot of fun with their conference. They showed tons of games. There wasn't a lot of bullshit. And I thought that Nintendo had a solid showing as always. And the Switch remains dominant and really cool. But I thought Bethesda was garbage.
Okay.
EA was a non-entity.
How can you look at Doom Eternal and say garbage?
Right?
How? And Wolfenstein looks... I'm intrigued.
Wolfenstein turned me around. Like, watching that gameplay, I was like, oh, this is going to be some dumbass, just spin-off nonsense.
It's not for me. Like, it's...
But
like,
it's never been for you, right?
No, it's never been for me. So, like, for me personally, it just was a bland E3 because they showed a bunch of shooters and then a bunch of CG trailers.
But the
I
EA
don't
is
know,
also
dude.
never for you, right?
I mean, I enjoy the spectacle. I think what bothered me is, like, I don't know.
Not enough cello.
Not enough Andrew Wilson devouring his assistants live on stage. I don't know. Like, EA wasn't a real show. Like, and there are parts
Never
of EA
is.
that sometimes I enjoy. I mean,
Not enough weed. Oh, now we found it.
So, like, but no, EA sometimes has an actual, like, they do have actual conferences. This was not a conference. This was, like, weird.
I think EA has been a joke for the last 3 years.
Fine, okay, but, like, this was especially disjointed and it didn't feel like anything. And then the lack of Sony, like, not that they had a good show last year. Their show last year was kind of stupid, but, like, this was... It just felt lackluster. Like, again, there was very few real games shown off. The stuff that was shown off was cool. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that it was a overall lackluster year.
I thought
Tom
Microsoft's show
Clancy's.
was fantastic.
The what?
I thought Microsoft's show was fantastic.
I was pretty hyped for their show. I thought it was kind of just like another good year. Like, not amazing, but good.
I thought they killed it. I thought it was ironic. Like they blew it up. They did a good job of capitalizing in the market and saying, "Hey, those dumbasses who are going to bring you into a tent aren't here, so we're going to put it on our stage and put pro wrestlers in like the underbelly of a creature in the orchestra pit." Like,
Hell yeah!
Weird as shit. Phil Spencer got on stage with a Psychonauts 2 shirt. I mean, it was great.
Phil Spencer looking beefy as hell, looking like someone rolled up some bologna and shoved it in his mouth right before he started talking like his lips are going to fall off his fucking face. I love that guy.
I like the Bethesda stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of conceptual things, but also, like Jamie said, Doom Eternal looks great. Even all the concept stuff looked awesome. Like a Deathloop, fucking great. I'm into it.
Yeah, that's cool. To me, Doom Eternal is not another FPS. To me, Doom Eternal is like the most
way of life.
video game-ass video game that has ever been made, and it just seems so different from like anything. Like, sure, Youngblood's going to be another FPS.
Yes, I agree.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it's going to be great. I'll probably enjoy the heck out of it. I loved the second Wolfenstein.
I think that Wolfenstein Youngblood will be controversially received. Like, not saying like, oh, it's naughty about zombies. Like, no, it's like, this probably is not. They're going down the wrong direction.
But Doom, like, I cannot wait. I play. I don't know if you guys know this. Like, I play Doom 2016 frequently. Like, I will open it up. I will play a level. Maybe like once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or maybe once every other week.
You're like, before you go for a run, you're like, I'm just gonna get some Doom juice in my veins.
Well, most of the time I use it as like a benchmark, right? And I'm always constantly building and breaking down PCs. So I'll open it up just to make sure that things are running smoothly. And then I'll just get sucked in. And I'll just play for like half an hour. Cool. That game is incredible.
Yes, it is.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm sorry, Geoff, that you don't share our excitement.
No, it's fine. I will say it has nothing to do with like overexposure to internet snark. Like, most of this stuff, I was pretty disengaged. Like, I wasn't furiously taking notes like I usually do. I wasn't like doing any of that shit. I was just watching it and relaxing. But I thought it was pretty lackluster. Like, there were some good moments. Like I said, Nintendo has. I love that Nintendo shows games. I think that's fantastic. But there was
Tifa's sports bra. Perfect.
Yeah,
Tifa's boobs got smaller.
I think
E3 ruined.
In my eyes, I think that Nintendo's was the weakest, just because of my preference on video games. That's it. I think all the other conferences were fantastic, and Nintendo's was solid too. And I had a good chuckle out of it. But like, I don't give a shit about Dragon Quest, so that was bathroom break time, which is like 2/3 of the thing.
I did not think they could turn me around on Watch Dogs, but I'm into it.
Watch Dogs looks fun.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting showing with a poor message, but I'm excited to try.
I love, what is a grandpa selling a kidney for cryptocurrency? Or maybe he's buying a kidney with cryptocurrency. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just love their like Brexit. We're not political here, but Brexit.
Brexit, am I right? Hashtag Reddit.
I'll play Watch Dogs. I mean, Watch Dogs, like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Like, at least good in all of its systems.
Are you going to play Tom Clancy's Dog Man?
Oh, fuck no.
No.
Are you going to play Tom Clancy's other game? Are you going to play Tom Clancy's mobile game?
No. Rainbow Six Siege is
Tom Clancy's Write My Next Book, please.
Rainbow Six Siege is eminently watchable. I'm terrible at those games, but I would watch the shit out of that game. It's real fun.
Yeah, I accidentally caught some of that stream, and I was like, oh no, I'm watching the wrong thing.
Anyway, yeah. No, it like I said, it has nothing to do with being too mired in the culture. It's just like, it was okay.
Next year is going to be nuts. We're going to get all this. Sony's going to be back, right? Like, do you guys agree Sony will be back?
I will absolutely make no bets or conditions or statements about next year, because I'm just curious what's going to happen. I think that most people are in Geoff's boat about how this was a wet fart of E3, and people who are on E3 board and culture reviews are like, this is the saddest show it's ever been. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be in the deck for next year.
I think those people are going to be happy next year. This is me talking out my ass next year. Like, Sony's going to be back. They're going to show the PS5. They're going to show Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on the PS5. It's going to be great.
I think we'll see what happens when Nintendo shows their next device externally to E3, and when PlayStation shows their next device externally to E3.
Yeah,
Nintendo will show. I mean, the Switch Mini. Like, that's not going to be, and whatever the Switch Pro is not going to be that exciting.
I disagree. I think people will be nuts for it.
Oh, I'll buy them. I will go bananas for them. But they'll be part of the Switch family. Okay. Anyway,
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But I'm excited, man. I want people to be able to play Bloodstained in double-digit frame rates.
That'd be nice. Can I just say one other thing that this was the generation of? This has been the generation of everything is delayed, so much of it till the generation after it. Like, that is a defining feature of this generation for me. Wait for everything longer than was originally promised. Like, every game.
Like what? Like which ones?
Well, every Sony first-party product.
Like which ones?
Like all of them? I don't know.
Uncharted,
Horizon, Last of Us. What's the Kojima one? Death Stranding.
All the ones that are coming out with this generation, are you saying? I'm not following.
The Last of Us has no release date.
Right.
The point is they're all being pushed, and many of them will be cross-gen products.
Cross-gen, yeah.
But I mean, you don't know that. And we also just had a discussion about how cross-gen might be good.
Mark Cerny was literally, like, he was interviewed, and when they asked him if it would be a cross-gen game, he was like, I can't say.
I'm excited to have the choice to play them on one or the other, but I think what Geoff is saying is that he's disappointed that this has been a great console generation, but it seems like it's not like it hasn't been jam-packed, and a lot of the stuff is being put off right to the bitter end, which is typically when the best stuff comes in. But
I think that it's been the generation of, like, all the stuff you thought you were gonna get has been delayed ad infinitum, and then the generation kind of happened while you were waiting for that. Like, indie games, came in. Like, these big esports games came in. Like, remember the big game of the early generation was like Rocket League, right? Like Fortnite. Like, the generation is like what happened while we were making other plans, right? Like, that is literally how I would define this generation.
I mean, I think Sony was a little bit of the exception with Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, two of my favorite games of all time, and they pushed the limit with regards to tech and gameplay
and Uncharted 4.
Yeah, and Uncharted 4, I think, also not necessarily.
Oh, and Bloodborne.
Yeah, that's very true.
Wasn't delayed, was it?
I'm just kind of not following where you're saying all these games were delayed and didn't hit this console.
No, they did. I'm saying some games are, like, they're going to hit.
I don't think this console is defined by saying, like, everything is pushed back. Happens with every console.
I feel like, again, maybe I wasn't paying as much attention before, but, like, this generation to me has been defined by a lot of waiting, like, so badly, like, that, like, Sony has had shows where they haven't had anything to show, or, like, they've had 5 games in 5 separate stages because everything has been so drawn out. God of War was delayed for years. Uncharted 4 was delayed for at least a year, I think a year and a half. Like, these were games that were delayed for a long, long time. Like, there is stuff that was talked about at, like, the very first E3 for these consoles that still hasn't materialized yet. Like,
and you're seeing the games.
Which ones?
FF7 Remake.
Well, but, I mean, come on, man.
When was The Last of Us 2 announced? What, like 4 years ago?
Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right.
When was Death Stranding first teased? 3 years ago? Like, these are games.
Death Stranding, though, is a miracle, in my opinion. That game went from no engine, a production team that was, Kojima, which is style over substance, and actually putting something together in 3 years. That's pretty freaking crazy. Like, you think he's at Konami, like building a secret ops team to start working on that stuff beforehand?
I'm not holding it against Kojima per se, and I'm not really holding it against anyone. I'm just noting that for me, a lot of this generation was like really slow to get off the ground. Output has been really staggered. There just isn't the same clip of like steady releases that there was.
I think that's the case for the Xbox, but I do not agree with that for the PlayStation.
Oh, okay, I mean that's just I haven't had any reason to turn on my PlayStation like more than once or twice for the past like 2 years, honestly. Like,
but there has been great. I mean, Spider-Man's incredible.
Yep. Dark Souls 3
was delayed for a long time.
I mean, I as usual, I think I'm falling in between you guys. Like, I think that there was so much great stuff this generation, but also I am frustrated when on multiple
Final Fantasy 15, another goofy ass one,
delayed.
Yeah,
delayed from like cross-generation product that was delayed after it was re-announced,
which was a PlayStation 3 era game, right?
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. This generation has been defined by waiting for stuff. Anyway, okay. That's what I love about Nintendo, why they're such a breath of fresh air. When they started announcing games that were coming out that year, I was like, holy shit, this is so nice.
It is nice. I was going to say, as usual, I feel like I'm falling in between you guys. I think there was a ton of amazing games, especially on the PlayStation side this generation. But it's also frustrating when you see, like, Horizon Zero Dawn got the spotlight at the Sony conference multiple years in a row. That's kind of frustrating. Same with Spider-Man. Same with God of War. And, you know, I feel that could lead someone to have Geoff's perspective that things were slow and drawn out, and you wish that things would happen at a faster clip. At the same time, I did get some of my favorite games ever.
Yeah, like I'm not.
I just think it was worse in PlayStation 3 if you want to make that comparison.
I don't know. I just feel like there was always something going on PS3 where I was like, I'm going to play this weird-ass game. Maybe it's just the disappearance of B-tier studios. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not like saying it was a disaster or anything. Like, I'm not truly angry. I don't expect more. Like, I understand that it's hard to make games. It gets harder all the time. But, like, for me, a defining feature of this generation has been, like, all this shit was promised and talked about, and some of it has yet to materialize. Much of it took a lot longer to materialize than expected, and that's defined the generation for me, just waiting for products. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
I think I'm opposed to that because I was wholeheartedly invested in PlayStation 3 as an idiot. Like, yeah, this is the real winner. I'll get a second job. And really, the games did come out at a trickle, and it was miserable, and they were bad, and it took a long time for that system to catch up. And PlayStation 4 was undoubtedly the winner of this console cycle because of its, hot to trot off to the races initial showing, and it has had games on it that hit as it hit. And I think there's a fucking ton of really good games that came out on it timely.
There are, and like I said, that's kind of where I got the like generation happened while we were making other plans thing. Like, I think for me, it's been a lot of waiting for these marquee titles, but I think a lot of other stuff has filled the gaps, just not what I expected. I would also say, like, you're right. Like, I didn't buy a PS3 when they hit the shelves. Like, I actually waited like 2 years maybe to buy one.
We both waited a long time, and then we both got scammed on eBay. Remember that?
I sure do. I waited at least until after MGS4 came out, and I think I waited a little longer than that even. Maybe Uncharted 2 was when I bought it. I think I bought it for Uncharted 2. So that was yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe it's revisionist history, but that's how I've felt. Like, that's been my emotional response to this generation. Like, it's a lot of waiting around.
I can see it too. I mean, I totally appreciate where you're coming from. Like, you look at these titles, and it's how many things were holdovers from the 3 era into the 4. Kingdom Hearts, Persona.
Was Spider-Man originally a PS3 game?
No,
it wasn't. Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah. Well, Persona was like literally cross-gen, but that's Atlas.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's some games that I really like that were really lagging and kind of falling behind, but there's also weird shit that happened too. Like, Apex Legend was like, "Hey, new game, check it out."
Well, that's a perfect example for me of like what happened while we were making other plans thing. Like, stuff is still coming at a very fast pace, just not the stuff I was looking for or expected. And it's not a bad thing. It just is. I don't know.
I wonder if that doesn't happen every generation, though, just as games continue to evolve. Like, you know, when I got a PS2, I was kind of like waiting for the Crash Bandicoots and the the Gexes to come out again, and instead I got
Gex 4 is going to happen. It's going to be a launch title for PS5.
Yeah, Buck Bumble 2.
Finally, Gex 4 will load environments. Entire stages will load in an instant.
Elijah Wood, bring me back to Spyro.
Anyway, I don't want to. I know we're going really long here, and it's just a stupid argument, but
I think I mean, sure, it's a stupid argument. This is all stupid arguments. I think it's an interesting conversation, though, because I think that it does color your perception of the entire. It's funny. I think what it shows is how actually important, maybe E3 is, and if you're showing the same games over and over again. And if you don't show up and highlight things, it's going to feel like there's a drought when maybe really there isn't. Like, Sony could have got up there this E3 and spent 10 minutes on Judge Eyes. And I think people would have been... Yeah, I think people would have been like, that's freaking cool.
Probably not, but maybe.
No. I think Sony could have had a booth that was a Judge Eyes booth, and people would be like, yeah, I guess they were there. But I don't think people are going to be enthralled by Sony talking about a game that's shipping in a couple weeks that's a niche title.
Yeah. I'm actually optimistic. Like, I think, there were so many CG trailers this year. I'm hoping that they'll give way to next generation gameplay next year. Like, I think that Deathloop will be a next gen title. You noticed no platforms were listed. I'm hopeful that next year we'll see some real gameplay, and hopefully these platforms will come out of the gate strong. It'd be really nice. Since everything's supposed to be backwards compatible, it'd be really cool if they could just kind of smoothly transition.
And I think the older that I get, and the more of this shit that I see, the more I'm accepting of, like, it's not a gameplay trailer. I mean, like, I'm interested, especially when it's a new IP, and it's like, okay, all right, bring in something fresh. When it's, your Final Fantasy VII Remake... past number 47 of here's some high level things of a rose. It's like, all right, okay, Crisis Core did it better, but that's fine.
There was an interesting interview,
but you know what I'm saying. Like, bringing something fresh to the table is always more interesting, and even if it is concept based, I'm in.
There was an interesting interview. I think it was part of Jason Schreier's interview with the head of CD Projekt Red. And not the most recent one, but one of the ones in the past. But the most recent one is interesting anyway. You should listen to it if you're interested in crunch and all that stuff. But that guy was talking about how when they showed The Witcher 3 early, and then they ended up shipping a game that had a slight graphical downgrade, Reddit went nuts.
Oh, like every fucking video game?
Well, exactly. So
Spider-Man,
I think that's why you're getting... I think that's why you're getting CG trailers. Like, because he was saying, because they spooled up the 2077 team like 2 years before Witcher 3 shipped or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. And he was like, we could have showed this game a year or two earlier than we did, but we're not going to show you something and then change it and then have everyone freak out. So I think maybe that's why we're getting more CG trailers, more concept stuff, and why, generally speaking, people are going to wait longer before they show us what the game is.
I heard something similar too, Jamie. Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, like, for me, when I see a CG trailer, like, yeah, of course there are known quantities where you're like, yeah, they're probably working on this, it should be okay. CD Projekt Red is a huge deal. They're not going to not deliver a product. Deathloop might never come out. Like, there is a chance Deathloop might never happen. Like, it is not inconsequential, or not there's a not infinitesimally small chance that game will never materialize.
But in a strange way, isn't that like part of it? Like, for me, that's like...
part of me getting older is I don't care. Like, if you're not showing me a real game, why am I even looking at this?
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite.
I agree with Jamie. Like, give me that fucking card game where I'm just two sorcerers in Central Park. Like, where did that go? Nowhere. I don't give a shit, but that looked awesome as hell.
I don't need to watch like if I want to watch a concept video, I can just load up some like fan console design or something. Like, what's the difference between watching a slick CG trailer?
Lie to me. Just lie to me.
It's why care?
Because there's the possibility that this could actually happen. Like Half-Life 3 is never coming out, but we could get Deathloop.
To me, it's the same. It's the same level in which you guys get hyped about like specs, and you're like, "Oh, think about the possibilities that this new console could perform at." Like, I see a cinematic trailer, and I'm like, "Wow, what is happening between the quick cuts in this video? Like, where are these people living? Why is this world like this? What is that gigantic metal structure? Like, that's what I'm really super curious about. That's what I love. I love the story.
Can we all agree, at least, that the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer was fucking hot garbage in terms of generating hype?
No, I mean, that is along those lines, though. That I feel like that fits into what Griffin is saying. Like, I'm like, this city looks cool. Like, sure, it's the only city they're showing, but it's like, it looks cool. There's a giant elephant. That's cool. I want to know what that's all about. Like, can you actually...
Cool, but, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter.
It does. And I think Griffin's analogy was perfect. Like, it is like specs. It's like, imagine, like, if they capitalize on these ideas, the product you get could be astounding. And
that's where I think I'm maybe neither of you guys, because I find specs interesting, but I also like don't care. Like, I don't care. I really don't. Like, I've got my 2060. I will probably buy into the next gen, although I'm hoping to wait.
But you're researching them, right? Like, it's not that you don't need to have it. You want to be in the know.
Yeah, but at least specs are concrete. At least specs are real things.
I like to play. I like to play in the delightful gray zone of the Lost. Next exciting episode of Lost, check out this statue's foot. I'm like, the statue's foot.
I get it. It's lost its appeal for me. It's. I guess as you've aged, you've been more willing to allow those into your heart, whereas as I've aged, I've been less willing to allow them into my heart. It's just the inverse thing is happening. I don't know why that is, but it just is.
I mean, I love my job, but my days are such downers, man. And then when someone shows me a trailer when there's like a monkey and a hot chick on a flying motorcycle and there's a giant freaking elephant, I'm like, yeah. That is the opposite of how my day was.
But then Nintendo
shows a fucking Lego car on stage,
coming
and I'm like,
in 3 months and is an actual game.
Yeah, but then it's
I
Dragon
excited about
Quest,
that
so I
too.
don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm both ways, man. I'm pumped about both.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's going to show good games, and that's great.
Yeah.
Games are awesome. Good games. Show me real trailers.
Yeah, I really appreciate that they're showing real trailers. I guess that's what it's exposed for me how bullshit everything else is.
I think the thing that Andy McNamara from Game Informer said really well was like, the thing that's missing from E3 this day and age is the spectacle. Like, it's a trade show where people go there and they talk about products, they talk about what's happening in the future, and it's an inclusive environment where you go and it's quote unquote journalism about what's happening in the future in this specific niche environment. However, there are areas and things in entertainment industry, so E3 part of it is entertainment, that entertain people in a more interesting way. And one of the things that E3 has really failed to capitalize on is the entertainment aspect. And if we continue to go forward and it's just, hey, check out the specs of this new system, look at these numbers, they're bigger than the last numbers, look at Jack Tretton go on the stage and talk about how the sales are better than this previous year's sales, like, that's boring as shit. Where's the entertainment value? And that's what I love about E3 is like the Ghostwire stuff, or like, the concept trailers that's like, what the fuck, or like a title card.
I want women with chastity.
Title cards are the worst.
I want women with chastity belts. I want women with chastity belts that have 3DSs attached to them.
Yes.
That I like. That's
I want
cool.
game slaves.
But see, that's cool because it's a real thing. It's cool because you can look and be like, oh my god, I want to hold that. It's real. It's there. I don't know.
We're not talking about women, Geoff.
Women aren't real. Don't worry. Let's stop it already. 2D women are the only one that are real. No, it's just like, I don't know. Look, I appreciate a cool, imaginative game. I just want it to be a real thing that I can actually engage with. Not just like a 15-second ad firm's interpretation of what a thing could maybe be.
I wonder if.
Well,
PAX
speaking of
is...
which, how did you fall on the Animal Crossing line?
I'm really excited. There's a new Animal Crossing. It does look a little bit Minecrafty, but I'm still excited for it.
I've never played an Animal Crossing game in my life.
I don't want to go back to Animal Crossing.
Oh, I'm ready.
Fuck that game.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I do chores at home.
Yeah. One of the things I just wanted to say briefly is so Geoff and I have gone to PAX for many years in a row, and we've been lucky enough to even be part of PAX. And I think part of the magic of PAX is, here's the game, play it right now.
That's true.
Also, here's the developer.
Yeah.
As you're playing, ask him questions. You flatter him, and he'll flatter you, and how good you are at the game. And maybe that has poisoned you to a certain extent about like just getting hyped over something that is so intangible, when your baseline is, no, I go to PAX, I play the goddamn game, and the developer's right there.
Play the game.
Well, I just think, like, if we look back, like, what was it, E3 2015 or 2014, where like FF7 Remake and Shenmue 3 were announced and people were losing their shit.
And
like,
those people were dumb.
They were dumb, but that's like a perfect example of why concept trailers, CG trailers don't fucking matter. They just don't.
Yeah, but also, Geoff, you cited two sources which were known quantities, right? Like Shenmue 3, a thing that people have been asking for ages, and Final Fantasy Remake. Like, I'm specifically saying I like new content that is mysterious.
I mean, it's cool, but I just wish I could actually look at it. Like, show me jank for 30 seconds that's an actual game running, and I'm way more excited than like the most slickly produced CG trailer.
But then it's just Dishonored, and it sucks again. That's the problem, Geoff. That's the problem for me.
Remember when Dishonored came out? Remember when Dishonored came out and Griffin just called it shitty Skyrim, and I like shat my pants?
That is the wrongest interpretation of that.
I love it.
Oh, that's accurate. Yep.
It's an immersive sim. They're so good. Oh, you fuck off.
The complete opposite,
Northern
Geoff, is where I am. So Nvidia is coming out with some overpriced graphics cards that I do not care about. I will not buy. They're coming out with them. They're announcing them next week. They have been releasing teaser trailers where they will show you a CG representation of a part of the graphics card for like 10 seconds. I have watched them over and over and over again. That's how deep I am. Like I love it. Like like looking.
What? I'm getting a page. Getting a page?
Hey.
Jamie?
Yeah, it's 1996 Jamie. Hey.
Are you doing all right?
Yeah, it's 1996.
Your future self just told me you're getting hot and horny for renders of graphics cards.
It sounds about the same as now.
I don't know if you know what a graphics card is, but it's basically some like bullshit you put in a computer to make things run better.
I do, because my cousin builds computers, and I wish I had the money to make one, but I don't, and I just like fetishize it, and maybe that's where all this came from.
You will never have enough money to build it, so try harder.
I will say I do like
more.
when Microsoft shows off their internal porn of their consoles, because it's actually strikingly accurate.
Oh yeah, and you can get info from that if you're into specs. Yeah,
they're pretty cool. Plus, they have the vapor chambers, and they play like AC/DC and shit. It's really, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck.
And then they etch a little picture of Master Chief's head onto the PCB for the Xbox One X, like nut jobs.
And then someone in the audience goes, "Yeah!"
No. This wasn't the Bethesda conference.
There's Square Enix. People in that audience were they were vomiting with joy.
Dude, that was a great conference.
I mean, understandably.
After one of the worst conferences I've ever seen from Square last year, that was a very good conference. They had so many games, and they were all real things for the most part.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Square was coming to the table with like, hello, hi, we are here to do business.
Yeah, and
we'll see where it goes in this next year or two, but
they showed like the Saga game, and they like put some nonsense like Saga will never die thing. I love it. It was so good. It's probably a terrible game, but I'm in for it.
Yeah, Sherer loves those games, and he said that the collection of I'm mixing.
You're thinking Mana.
Yeah, my bad. But speaking of, Sherer said that those games, the Mana games, have not aged well.
No, they haven't. I've been playing. I purchased the collection, and Secret of Mana. I've been playing through it because I never finished it, so therefore I've never played it. And holy fuck, man, that is a bad arc.
Yeah, I don't like that game.
I really think that game is only like memorable because of probably that one thing that happens late, like literally at the end of the game.
You talking about the Mode 7 parts of the game?
No, I'm saying like in terms of a story, like why people remember it. That game is fucking stupid. Gameplay wise, also not great. I will say this.
Trials of Mana is pretty fun.
Secret of Evermore, superior game.
When are we going to get the Xenogears Will Never Die
weirder.
thing?
Oh, God, never.
The Zohar will never die.
Oh, man.
The Zohar lives on in Xenoblade, but neither of you will play it.
Nope.
Cowards.
How are the Gnosis doing? The Gnosis?
I don't know how the Gnosis... I never played that series. It's dumb.
How's Saitan?
Saitan?
Do
you mean
Satan?
Is he a type of protein?
Yeah, he's
Satan?
he's vegetable protein.
I don't know. No, the Zohar is actually in Xenoblade, in both of them.
Oh, damn.
Literally, I don't remember if it's actually called the Zohar, but it's very similarly named. It's clearly the Zohar. Super cool.
You really liked the most recent of those.
I loved it. I think it was a great game. I mean, It's anime as fuck sometimes, but it's real fun.
I'm down for that.
I do like anime.
You guys gonna watch Evangelibons on the Netflix?
I'm gonna watch my old DVDs.
Yeah, perfect way to end this podcast. So let's talk about shit that's already been said and done. We started with Assassin's Creed. Let's end with Evangelion. You guys gonna watch it? What other stuff from previous years are we gonna go over here?
We're going back in time to 1996, Jamie.
Yep. Let's go as untopical as possible.
Okay, 1996 Jamie. He liked Radiohead.
Brave Friends
Tom
from
York is coming
Musashi.
out with a new album.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. What else was going on back then? I don't know, man. Rayman.
Tom Clayton's Basement.
Oh no.
The Sims. People are talking about The Sims all the time.
Gina Jackson's talking about The Sims. She loves that series.
Yeah. I like it when she talks about it, but it's like there's too many articles about this shit.
You guys hear about EVE Online? That sounds cool as shit. If you haven't, look it up.
You mean just the game?
Yeah, the game and also things that are happening. I have to bio break, so I'm going to try and wrap this up here.
We got it, because I got to go shove some ramen down my gullet.
God, so jealous.
Yeah, Ani Ramen opened in one Summit. It's so good. We go frequently.
Nice. Jealous. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks everybody for listening. If you made it this far, Jamie, Geoff, always a pleasure trying to coerce your opinions on things, which will never happen, but I love it. So much fun.
Good times as always.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I very much enjoy.
And as so see you next month. As we always say on our sign-offs. You guys ready for this? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go
Beluga.
beat a video game.
Happy Easter. Is that it? Did I nail it?